What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Burndown YouTube channel. We are out here messing with the Malibu. I've got less than 30 days, and that means I got even less time than that because I still got to drive out there. I can't drive the distance in a day, but I digress. We have made some progress. Let's kind of show you real quick. So everything is in, everything is tight. All the lines are in and tight, and then I also made the executive decision to cut in a fuel filter up here. So we have the fuel filter. Eventually I'm going to put an electronic pressure sensor, but this was in there now. It plugs it up. I'm not going to get ahead of myself. So we got all the fuel filter there. And since we're down here, let's double check. And there you go. Outlet, just to make sure we installed it properly. So there you go. You can never be too sure. So now that we have all of that in there and done, the last step in the name of the game, they're electronic fuel pumps, so they need everybody's favorite, wiring. Yay, this is where all the kids clap and everything. So this is the old wires that I took out in the old sheathing, and this is some new that I bought, and this is some new sheathing that I got from, this is all from Spruce Aircraft. They sell mil-spec wire, so this, even though it looks thin, it is 12 gauge mil-spec, which should be fine for the twin Hellcat pumps. So in this tank here, we've got twin Hellcat pumps that came out of my old tank, and then in this one, we've got a little bitty baby Walbro 255, just so the motor can sip fuel and we can drive down the road. Nothing froggy, nothing fancy. So we have to wire both of those. But if you also are looking at this setup, you know that we have our little return guy here. So you pull it up, you spin it, bada boom, bada bang. I put a little arrow on there, and then I put this piece, so I can only go that way or that way, that's it. I can't spin it around or do anything else, and you can see there's a direction on there. So this would be a 90, which would return here, so that would be drive. And this would be race mode. This is a straight through, and we'll return here. If I keep hitting my head on that too, that's gonna be a lot of fun. So, let's put it on drive mode. So we're in drive mode here, but we have in-tank pumps. So yeah, we can turn that and change which one is getting returned, but how do we fire which pump is running? And I figured I'm gonna be back here every time we're at the track making hits. I gotta make sure this is full. I don't have a sending unit like on this tank I do, so when I'm driving down the road, I don't have to guess. But at the track, one of my due diligence things is going to be to make sure that this is topped off with fresh E. And while I'm back here, you top it off with fresh E. You make sure that you're in race mode, like so. And then I think what we will do, this is my Holley signal that comes back. This is the single Bosch relay that I had running both of these. And if you guys do remember, if you watch long enough, I had some different wire and a plug, and I upgraded to this. And again, this is mil-spec. This is really good wire because my wires were getting hot. So we took the plugs out of the old guy, and I ran it straight, and we did some hoopla. Well, I was also going to put dual relays, right? One relay per pump. Now that I'm not depending on this and driving around on two pumps, technically what I was doing was just taking one pump off on the street. This thing doesn't take any amps at all. These take about 25 amps max, I think, or something, roughly, for these guys. So we will continue to run both of these off of this. This is a 75 amp relay. But I will do a second relay, and we're going to do the big boy relay for redundancy. Instead of running a little chintzy one like this, which would be more than enough for that pump, we're going to run two big boys. And then that way, if I had an issue with one, we could lean on it, because I know that this will power two pumps, and I know these are good. So I got a secondary one of these. So how we're going to switch between relays is a little flip switch. So I know it sounds kind of stupid, but this was the simplest solution I could come up with in the time that I have. In the future, when I have more time, maybe we'll make it all automated, and I'll figure something cool out, like one switch, and I can get an electronic valve, and I can get in the car and you just flip it up or down, and it goes to each one, or, you know, something awesome. But for now, there's only a few gallons in that tank. So every time we make a pass, I'm gonna have to come back and keep it topped off, keep the fuel cool. And again, once you put it into race mode, that will be part of the routine. And then when you put it in street mode, you know, it is what it is. Maybe one day we'll get really cool. We'll just put 16 injectors in, and then I could just flip it between the two. But even then, I'd still have to just make sure that I had fuel. So I guess we can put a secondary fuel gauge and stuff. We can get really froggy. Anyway, so that is that. So I think what we'll do first is I'm going to take this off and remount it. See what kind of slack we have with our trigger wire, which it should be able to mount like over here. And maybe we'll put these side by side. We can label, you know, pump 1, pump 2, or whatever, street race here. So when you look in here, you'll know exactly what it is. And then my power lead is already here. She's a big old fatty. And then what we'll do is we'll just power one, we'll jump power to the other. And then that way we don't have a big cluster. So we'll just basically make a little sub harness. Hopefully try to keep it nice and tidy, and it should just cruise up and go from here over to here, and then we'll figure out how to get it on up to over yonder. So that's that. Let's get to wire. Okay, here's my second relay. We kind of got the location sorted. We'll just do, you know, one here, one there. We can have them drag and drive, and then they can share the same feed power, so we can daisy chain that and then just output depending on which pump needs to get fired. And then what we will do to mount this, we'll hard mount this first. I'm going to use this. These are called blind rivets. You load it in this guy, you squeeze it, and it puts a rivet in there, but it has threads, so then you can come back and thread things in. These are fairly light, so a couple of these little aluminum guys with some button heads, and they should be good to go. So I want to get them mounted, and then I'll wire to them after they're mounted up. So let's get these mounted, and then we'll try to start wiring things up. We have one installed, and then I'm doing the second one. I figured I'd give you guys a tip, and my tip is just do one side at a time. Don't try to mark it, drill it, and then expect it to go. You can drill it, put the one side in, kind of tighten it down a little bit, and then mark your second side, and then drill and do that one. I would do it on camera, but you know how life goes. If I try to do it and show you guys like, oh, this is how it's done, the universe is probably not going to make it happen, and then, I don't know, it's just going to go bad. But I have found, for a pro tip, that if you listen to the Beastie Boys while doing this, the odds of it being done first shot greatly improve. So there's your pro tip. So we are plugging away. I am making a jumper wire to go from my main power feed over to my secondary relay, which is going to run my driving pump, right? So if you're looking at this wire, you're probably thinking, hey, that wire looks pretty small. Well, this is, again, this is 12 gauge, and it is mil-spec wire, so it is stranded. It's the good stuff. Sometimes your cheaper stuff has a thicker sheathing, and the wire's cheaper, and they may be bigger strands, so it's bulkier in general. But the other thing, and the reason I wanted to share this and show this to you guys, for one, so you don't go, hey, you undersized that wire, because I did not. And for two, speaking of wire sizing, you need to size the wire according to the amp, draw, and need, and then length of the run that you're doing. So I know that was a lot to say, that was a mouthful, but for instance, this pump is a Walbro 255, and I think it's 17 amps max or something like that, so it's not very much. This little piece of wire here will hold, it's like 24 amps or something. And then also that's at a certain length. So this little piece here may do a little bit more than that, but ultimately this is plenty of power wire to run the street pump. Because technically this is the same gauge wire that's gonna run those Hellcat pumps as well. So yeah, let me get this shrunk down, and then we will do a little bit more, and then I'll bring you guys along and show you. But yeah, whenever you're running something, look up the pump, look up the electronic piece that you're running, figure out what the amps are, and then look the wire gauge up and see what the max amp rating is. And you can go over, you know, you don't want to be under. It'd be better to err on the side of caution and go up a gauge if you're iffy or if you're at the line. And then also the length of the run, you have to take that into consideration. If you're going front to back of the car, you probably want to go up at least one gauge, possibly more, but again, I'm not a complete electronic wizard. I have buddies that are much better at this stuff than me, but I know enough to be dangerous and enough to wire up some pumps. So let's get back to it. Both of the relays are in the car. They both have power. Now we need to switch the power going from one to the other. This is a toggle switch, and then it's on. So if you're gonna do a toggle switch, something like this, a lot of them are on off. So this is on. So I would imagine this is your feed, and then depending on which way you flip it, this one's on or that one's on, depending on which way this goes. And we'll have to figure that out. They have a little schematic in there, so that way when I flip it, I know what pumps what. And then the only thing that I have with this is I don't have a base like to plug this thing in. So I'll have to figure it out, because this is going to be hot. This is not a ground. So I guess technically what I could do, I could make this a ground. So maybe we'll just do that, so that way it's not hot. But either way, it will flip between the two. So yeah, we'll flip it. We'll do a ground. This will be ground triggered, so it won't be hot. But regardless, we'll have to open it up, see which is which, and then I'll figure out how to get it mounted in there somewhere to where it really doesn't move around. It's not going to get bumped by anything and switch pumps while I'm driving around or anything dumb. And I will show you guys when we get it mounted, and then we'll get this wired in as well. Figured I would share this one with you because I have the little tabs that go on that switch that I shared with you guys, and then the other piece. But I don't have the little connector. It's supposed to go in a plastic guy like this, and this is the female, but I need the other one. I don't have it, so this is no good to me. So things don't touch. I just put a little heat shrinky dink on that one, and then a little bigger heat shrinky dink on this guy. So when you plug it in, you know, nothing hopefully will get in between and activate pumps and things that you don't want active. So we're looking good. I will explain how it works and kind of show you guys so you understand what we're trying to do. And then the only thing I'm going to have left here in a minute is wiring to the pumps, which should be straightforward. But you know how race car building goes. Drag, drive, drag. That's right, baby. If it didn't have zip ties on it, would it be a race car? Yeah, a little 3D printed thing would be awesome right here to house this and to fit right in between. But ain't nobody got time for that. So we'll leave it here. And then let me make these, and I wanted to point this out. For whatever reason, when this thing came, I blacked it out, but this was positive and this was negative. And I like the positive to be away from more stuff than in here next to anything that it could arc out on. So when I wired the pumps, I wired it like that, and then I just labeled it myself so it looks classy. So we'll run all these wires, and then I should be able to hopefully lube them all together, and we'll bring it this way and over here and to that dude. And then the pumps are all wired. We'll just have to decide on where we're gonna ground it. So I've decided to just have a separate ground. So this will be just for the pumps only. We'll run the wires up here, and then the grounds can just go boop right to there. Hopefully it's far enough out of the way that I don't catch it to the dome or nothing dumb. But it was better than piling on to this one because it's getting ugly. And then I didn't want to run wires, you know. So I think it'll just go boop, and it'll be clean down there. Then all my positives can come here. A few zip ties. Bob's your uncle. Wiring is done, but the relays are in. We've got our flip switch, depending on which way it's facing, is the relay it fires. So this would be drive, this would be drag. We've got these pumps all wired up. Everybody's happy. We've got our little flip switch. So there's an arrow, so this would be straight through. Race tank, so that would be drag. That would be drive, and then we've got our screw there so we can't screw it up. Everything is basically ready to go, but it is past 6 o'clock. It is Saturday, and I could stay out here all night and finish this, but I have something even more important. I've got an 8-year-old that is about to finish 2nd grade, and it is his first year of the 100-mile club. I drop him off 30 minutes early to school, and he takes it upon himself to go run the track with a group of other kids, and nobody's there telling them that they need to run or they can walk or whatever. It's all on him. Well, he logged 184 freaking miles like a little beast. He's in 2nd grade. There's 2 other kids that log more miles, but they get there earlier than he does. So in essence, he is really good at running. And to support him, I bought him some Roblox cards, and then he likes breakfast for dinner. I like steaks, but it's not about me, it's about what he likes. We're gonna take him out to dinner to celebrate. We didn't get to do it last night, so that's more important than me firing this thing off. I'm not gonna get in a hurry, even though I'm running out of time. We will continue this saga tomorrow. I should be able to get it fired up, and then it's all wired and everything's good. I just want to put hands on stuff, and again, there's no need to rush and then try to do other stuff. And sometimes in life, you got to slow down a little bit, stop, smell the flowers, and do things that are actually important versus the things that you'd really, like to do. So I'm gonna go celebrate with him, man. That is fantastic. I'm gonna clean up. Thank you guys for following along. We are this close. Hopefully next video we'll get this thing running. Even if I don't beat you up with the full video, I just want to show you how everything works and functions. If you got questions on any of the stuff that we are doing here, please leave it in the comments section. Thank you for the support. I'm out.